Hi, Lori Webb from the Global Brainstorm here, and I am here with Peter. Please tell me your full name.
Peter Kinsella, and I'm the owner and director of Lunya.
And Lunya, what does that mean actually?
Well, it doesn't mean a thing. It's Catalunya, split into two, which gives a nice, neat-sounding name, small name, so it's good for a logo. And it captures the essence of what we are, a Catalan restaurant in Deli.
Okay, so now that's really well thought out.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I think your branding is so important, whether or not you're a tiny little business or you're a global enterprise.
Exactly.
And it's interesting. Everyone thinks we're a big national franchise because we've got such good branding.
Now, how many places do you have?
I have this. This is it.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
So this is it.
Yeah.
But with the view to open more, or you want to have a singular restaurant?
Possibly. It depends on the day that you ask that question.
Okay.
At the moment, I want to get this running as perfectly as I can.
Okay. Now, this to be said is tomorrow or Tuesday.
We are 2 years old to the day.
So we're right here on the anniversary. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
It's fantastic. And it is a tapas restaurant.
We are. We 160 cover restaurant and deli and an online shop as well.
Okay, now Peter, what's your background? Where do you come from?
I'm born and grown up in Liverpool, spent a couple of years in the States, but all my life I've worked in and around the health service, and for the last 15 years I was advising governments on their community mental health services. And I've never worked in a restaurant, had a restaurant, I've eaten a lot, I've cooked all my life, but this was I planned to do something different, and this is what I did.
So you woke up one morning and said,
and ever since I was at university doing psychology, I've always had in the back of my mind at some point I wanted to make a career out of cooking. Because cooking's what I love more than anything else in the world. And having done my other career for 20-25 years, I thought I either had to do something with this idea or bury it and just carry on doing management consultancy. And I loved what I was doing. I had a really nice business doing what I was doing, but thought, I want to do this.
Okay, so you decided to go with your passion and create this business. Now, why tapas? Is it the trend, or is it because you actually have a love of it?
It is the trend, but it was driven by, about 15 years ago I went over to Barcelona to do some consultancy work for the Catalan government on their health service. Fell in love with Barcelona, fell in love with their food, the whole culture about food seemed just superb. A real passionate belief in the quality of local ingredients and letting great ingredients speak for themselves and not hiding them through layers of complex sauces, just lovely food and lovely raw ingredients. And I came home wanting to cook the things I had in Barcelona and elsewhere in Spain. Could never find the ingredients, couldn't find a good Spanish restaurant outside London. And so it was never a decision what type of restaurant it's going to be. It was just always in my head it was going to be a Catalan Spanish restaurant. So there was never a conscious evaluation or decision. It was planted there. One morning it was a Catalan and Spanish restaurant in Deli.
Okay, so 2 years ago, let's go back. And how did this is a beautiful space.
Yeah.
It's really nice space. It's well located, centrally located. Can you talk a little bit about your process of when you build a restaurant? The one thing is the food guideline. What direction you're going to go? What's your level? What's the quality?
Well, it's all started. On my 40th birthday, having had too much to drink. That's about 8 years ago now. I went around telling everyone, I'm going to stop being a management consultant, I'm going to open a restaurant. So that was my Dutch courage, really, of making that step. So that if I don't tell people, I'll backtrack, because it's a crazy thing to do. Crazy thing to give up a really good, successful career and to do something you know nothing about. And then I needed about 2 years for it really to formulate the concept in my head of exactly what and how. And I spent a lot of time visiting restaurants in Spain, delis, and just getting an idea of what I wanted. And then I needed to test out, one, could I do this for a living? Could I cook food that people wanted to buy? And could I source good food in Spain that people wanted to buy? So for 2 years, I rented a refrigerated display counter and went off to food festivals and cooked food and sold it. Just for a day I did that, and we sold out of everything. People kept on asking, when are you going to open that? And so that's what really convinced me there was a market for what I wanted to do. So it's one thing having a dream and some ambition, but if you've got a dream and ambition around something no one wants, then it's folly. I think you've got to make sure there is an interest and demand in what you want to do. And I started to look around and think about location, what I wanted, what would be the right place. And my original idea was to have a really small deli with 4 tiny tables in a suburb.
Right.
And I went to the area's wealthier suburb, and I stood on street corners, I counted the number of people going past, made a guess at their sort of socioeconomic status, and when I looked at the figures, it was never going to work in the suburb. Footfall was low, people who had all the money were out working 9 to 6, and there were some fairly wealthy pensioners not spending a lot. And so in the end I thought it had to be Liverpool city centre, so it needed to be somewhere where there was a big mass of people that was quite cosmopolitan in the Southwark.
Right.
And Liverpool 1 was just about being finished as this new development, and it just struck me anywhere else but Liverpool 1 would be a massive risk. You couldn't figure out what impact this would have on other areas of the city.
Right.
So I didn't want to take the risk of having somewhere which would have been great for the last 10 years, but Liverpool 1 opened and no one went to.
Right.
So I went for the new place, and this was one of the very few units that was available, much bigger than I wanted, in a different location to what I wanted. It's over 2 floors. It was everything I didn't want, but it was what was available. And I suppose that's the thing, that you can't get the perfect premises, you have to go with what you've got, and hopefully then make the right decisions that you can make it work.
Right.
And that was it, that's how we ended up here. It was a good location. It wasn't in the middle of the corporate areas where there's a lot of the big high street chains, so we needed to be somewhere that reflected our independence. We were away from the national chains where all the restaurants are in Liverpool 1, and an area that could work both for retail and for restaurants, and it's very different business, and sometimes attracting different people, and I always had that in my head, that it was, I understood the 2 different elements of the business, and we had to find somewhere that would work for both and not just one or the other.
Perfect. Well, we're going to have to cut this short, but this is essentially what we've been going through and trying to find. This focus was really great because we got a chance to hear about how we have a transition from a successful businessman who decided to follow his dream, ended up kind of testing it like incrementally. So that's a good idea in any business that you're going to get into, to get an idea, well, does somebody even want the product that you're that you're passionate about creating?
Absolutely.
Then so taking that and then ending up going with an opportunity, because it wasn't necessarily what he wanted to do, or it wasn't the space he wanted to do it in, but he took the chance, and 2 years later,
working. Much bigger than I ever thought it would be, and it's working well.
And it's going well, and we're so happy because it's a fabulous space, smells delicious, and we have some people who are actually going to be coming here at dinner later, so they can tell us how delicious it actually is. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Peter, it was great, and we'll see you at the next interview.